Have you ever wondered why the ocean tastes salty? Why every wave, no matter where you dip your fingers, carries that familiar tang? Tonight, we'll uncover the hidden journey of that salt, tracing it from ancient rocks, through rivers, and into the vast, endless sea. If you're listening from your quiet bedroom, a cozy cabin, or perhaps the gentle hum of a city at night, take a moment to notice where this story finds you, and leave a comment below. I'd love to know. And if the thought of drifting through oceans of wonder appeals to you, consider subscribing to The Thoughtful Night, so these gentle journeys can find you again and again. Imagine the soft rhythm of waves against a shoreline, the sunlight scattering across ripples, the subtle whisper of salt on your lips. That salt is not just a flavor. It's a story, millions of years in the making. Every grain carries a memory of rain falling on mountains, of rivers winding through valleys, of the slow, steady work of Earth itself shaping the world. Tonight, we will drift together through this story. We will follow the first drops of rain as they trickle across stone, gather into rivers, and journey toward the oceans. We will descend beneath waves to explore the hidden chemistry of salt, feel the subtle power of hydrothermal vents deep in the sea, and witness how life itself has learned to dance in this salty embrace. There will be no hurry here. Let your thoughts slow, your breathing deepen, and your mind wander gently like a leaf floating on a calm river. We will move at the pace of water, letting the science unfold softly, like a lullaby whispered by the ocean. And as you listen, allow yourself to imagine the endless cycles of water and salt, the dance of ions and tides, the quiet patience of the earth itself. You might feel the ocean around you, not just as water, but as a living, breathing story, ancient and eternal. So, close your eyes if you like, settle into the softness of your night, and let us begin. Let us follow the salt from the first raindrop on a distant mountain to the endless waves of the sea, and discover the secret history hidden in every shimmering crystal. Raindrops descend from a gray, whispering sky, tapping gently against the hard, ancient stones of mountains. Each drop hisses softly as it meets the rough surfaces, bouncing, splitting, and finding the smallest crevices in the rock. Tiny rivulets begin to form, weaving delicate silver threads that snake down slopes, carrying with them infinitesimal particles scraped from the stone. You might not notice them at first, but these streams, fragile and persistent, are the birthplace of salt in the ocean. As water courses over the rocks, it dissolves some of the minerals hidden within: calcium, magnesium, and sodium, releasing them into the flowing current. This process, known as chemical weathering, is slow yet relentless. The rain, slightly acidic from carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, is like a patient sculptor, nudging atoms from their solid homes into liquid journeys. The rocks surrender their secrets, drop by drop, mineral by mineral, and the water becomes a messenger carrying fragments of Earth's deep memory. Listen closely, and you can hear the gentle murmur of streams collecting in small pools, the soft trickle over moss-covered stones, the occasional plunk of a pebble dislodged by the force of moving water. Each sound is a testament to time's passage, a rhythm older than human existence. Minerals shimmer faintly in sunlight, invisible to the casual eye but glinting like tiny stars in the current, sparkling with the stories of eons. Consider this: every droplet, as it slides down the mountainside, has already brushed against countless grains of rock, collected whispers of ancient Earth, and absorbed faint hints of minerals forged deep in the planet's mantle. Even before reaching the rivers, these drops carry a chronicle older than any human memory, etched in stone and riverbed, carried in silence through the landscape. There is poetry here, a subtle, meditative cadence that mirrors the rhythm of your own breath. The streams converge, pooling in shaded valleys, merging their mineral-rich waters into broader, more confident currents. You can imagine the motion as a dance. Small droplets twirling, joining others, learning the paths they must take toward the wider world. The water becomes heavier with memory, enriched by the slow, patient extraction of salts. Tiny particles of sodium, chloride, and calcium move in concert, invisible yet powerful, carrying the quiet signatures of mountains, soil, and stone. Rain continues to fall, drumming on leaves, splashing into puddles, seeping into the earth. The minerals follow it, sometimes entering the soil, sometimes winding along creeks toward larger streams. The landscape is alive with subtle chemistry. Invisible transformations are happening at every turn. Rocks erode imperceptibly, minerals dissolve, and water records these events in its liquid flow. With each drop, a story is written. A story that will eventually arrive at the ocean, whispered in every crystal of salt. You might imagine standing beside a nascent river, feeling the cool mist on your skin, listening to the quiet song of water over stone. Notice how the droplets glide around obstacles, adapt to every contour, yet never lose their purpose. They journey patiently, persistently, guided by gravity and the landscape's contours, carrying their mineral cargo through the terrain. These small, shimmering travelers remind us that even the simplest elements of nature are part of a grand, unfolding narrative. Every rainstorm, every trickle over jagged stone, is part of a cycle that has repeated for millions of years. The water collects, deepens, and moves with a deliberate rhythm, tracing ancient paths carved long before humans walked the earth. In these first droplets, the future ocean already exists, waiting for the stories of rivers, mountains, and rocks to join together in one vast, salty expanse. There is a sense of continuity here, a reminder that nothing in nature exists in isolation, and every small action ripples outward across time and space. Eventually, the streams widen into rivers, fed by countless drops like those falling now, each carrying its invisible cargo of dissolved minerals. The water flows faster, surging over rocks and through valleys, its salty story becoming louder, more assured. Yet the transformation is subtle. The salts are invisible to the eye, almost secretive, patiently joining the vast narrative of the ocean's eventual embrace. It is a quiet miracle, unfolding with infinite patience, a testament to the slow, meticulous processes that shape our world. These droplets gather, journeying toward the growing rivers, bringing with them the legacy of mountains, the memory of rain, and the first whispers of the ocean's salty story. If you pause and listen, you can almost feel the pull of the sea calling them onward, a gentle, irresistible invitation to join the timeless rhythm of tides, waves, and currents that will carry them far from their mountain cradle into the boundless blue of the ocean. The river awakens with a gentle murmur, bending and twisting as it gathers momentum through forested valleys and open plains. Sunlight glances off its surface in tiny flashes, turning ripples into fleeting jewels that dance across the water. Each current moves purposefully, carrying the dissolved minerals collected from countless raindrops and streams along the way. The water itself seems alive, whispering the secret stories it has gathered from the mountains, the rocks, and the earth. Along the banks, reeds sway softly in the breeze, and the river hums a low, constant melody as it navigates stones and sandbars. Ions of sodium and chloride, invisible yet steadfast, drift within the water, bound in delicate balance. They move with the rhythm of the flow, companions on a journey that began long before the river carved its first path. Every molecule has a history, traces of ancient rains, forgotten rocks, and eons of slow weathering are encoded in each droplet. The river's path is never straight. It curves around bends, plunges over small waterfalls, and spreads into quiet pools where light and shadow mingle. In these moments, the water slows, as if pausing to gather its knowledge and then whisper it onward. Minerals dissolve further, blending seamlessly into the liquid, creating a tapestry of chemical stories that will eventually merge into the sea. The journey of the river is a storyteller's dance, carrying the history of the land toward a vast, waiting destination. Beneath the surface, the current carries the subtle shimmer of countless ions, like tiny sparks in a hidden galaxy. The water holds the memory of all the mountains it has touched, the soil it has caressed, the rain it has drunk. Each twist and turn adds to the story, layering new secrets over old ones. The river becomes a living archive, a gentle conveyor of the earth's earliest whispers, moving patiently toward the ocean's embrace. Occasionally, the river gathers tributaries along its way. Streams from distant hills, spring-fed creeks hidden beneath mossy groves, and trickling channels from glaciers all converge, each adding its own mineral signature. Sodium mingles with calcium, chloride with magnesium, and every particle is a testament to the patient, quiet work of the natural world. As they meet, the waters mix gently, creating a symphony of chemical interactions that has repeated for millions of years. The river's surface reflects the sky in ever-changing shades of blue and gray. Clouds drift slowly above, casting soft shadows that glide across the water. Birds skim the surface, their reflections merging with the ripples, and the river's song continues uninterrupted. There is a sense of timelessness here, a rhythm older than human eyes can witness, older than human hands can touch. The flow carries both movement and stillness, history and promise, toward the awaiting ocean. Rivers are more than just channels of water. They are veins of memory, pulsing with the mineral lifeblood of Earth. The journey is slow, deliberate, and yet unstoppable. Rocks surrender their treasures to the water, and rainbows of dissolved particles swirl invisibly beneath the surface. There is poetry in this quiet accumulation, an unseen choreography that ensures that every ion, every grain, eventually joins the greater whole. As the river continues its path, it cuts through canyons, meanders through valleys, and glides past human settlements, unnoticed yet ever present. Farmers and villagers have long depended on these waters, unaware of the subtle chemical legacy flowing beneath the surface. The salts and minerals carried silently in the current connect every living thing along its banks to the vast ocean beyond. Life itself is subtly entwined with this ancient, watery archive, nourished by the secrets it brings. Even the smallest stream joining the river adds weight to its story. A drop from a distant mountaintop merges seamlessly with the flow, contributing its mineral tale to the accumulating narrative. In this way, the river becomes a grand collector, an archivist of the landscape, and a patient courier for the oceans it serves. The journey of these dissolved particles is endless, winding, and poetic, like a whispered story that grows richer with every mile traveled. And when rivers meet the sea, their secrets mix with the vast, waiting waters. The minerals, once scattered and hidden in the folds of mountains, now dissolve into the ocean's embrace. Every crystal of salt in the sea carries the memory of these winding journeys. The rain, the rocks, the small streams, and the patient rivers that delivered them. The ocean becomes the grand repository of Earth's long, slow alchemy, holding in its depths the story of every river that has ever flowed into it. The river finally reaches the sea, spilling its mineral-rich waters into a vast, waiting expanse. Waves lap gently against the shoreline, drawing the river's secrets into the endless blue. The ocean receives them silently, as it has for millions of years, collecting every trace of sodium, chloride, calcium, and magnesium that journeys from the mountains. Here, in these basins, the Earth's whispered stories accumulate, layer upon layer, deep beneath the moving surface. The water stretches endlessly, reflecting the sky in shades of indigo and silver. Tides roll with a slow, deliberate rhythm, rising and falling like the pulse of a sleeping giant. Currents swirl beneath, carrying the dissolved minerals far from the shore, spreading them across the basins. Every drop that arrives from a river brings with it fragments of distant landscapes, etched into its chemistry. The ocean is a collector, a patient archivist of Earth's ongoing narrative. Evaporation works its quiet magic as sunlight warms the surface. Water rises in invisible plumes, leaving behind the minerals it once carried. Slowly, inexorably, salinity increases, the concentration of salts growing over millennia. The process is invisible to the human eye, yet it shapes every wave, every current, every creature that calls the ocean home. In this endless cycle, water departs but salt remains, a permanent record of the journey from rock to river to sea. Beneath the waves, light filters down in soft beams, glinting off suspended particles and glimmering salts. You can imagine the ions drifting gracefully, moving in invisible patterns, forming the quiet architecture of seawater. The ocean is vast, yet it remembers every river that has ever poured into it, every storm that swept across the mountains, every drop of rain that once caressed a rock. There is a sense of timelessness here, as though the sea itself holds the memory of the planet. The basins of the ocean are not uniform. Some plunge into profound depths, cloaked in darkness, while others form gentle shelves near the coast. Salts accumulate unevenly, guided by currents, tides, and temperature. Yet even in these subtle variations, there is harmony, a natural rhythm that balances concentration and dispersion. The ocean is a living system, quietly adjusting, distributing, and holding the traces of every contributing river, stream, and spring. As you drift across its surface, notice how the waves carry not just water but history. Each crest is a whisper, a story of mountains weathered and rivers traveled. The ocean's surface ripples with knowledge invisible to the eye, a mosaic of ions that have journeyed through stone, soil, and time. Here, in this immense basin, the minerals merge and mingle, a slow dance that has continued for eons, building the subtle flavor that defines every drop of seawater. The deeper you imagine moving into the ocean, the more layers of history you encounter. Sediments on the seafloor hold fossils and remnants of past seas, recording fluctuations in salinity and climate. The salts in the water above interact with these sediments, continuing a quiet chemical dialogue that links surface currents with the planet's geological memory. Every basin, every trench, and every plateau contributes to the story, holding the record of the Earth's slow, patient transformations. Even distant tides, pulled by the moon, play a role in this accumulation. They move the water, mixing newer inputs from rivers with the older, deeper layers of the ocean. The salts are never stagnant. They swirl and drift, yet they endure. Each molecule carries the imprint of countless sources, a testament to the interconnectedness of Earth's systems. The ocean's vastness is matched by the depth of its memory, a subtle, ceaseless archive of the planet's slow, deliberate work. In imagining this, you can sense the quiet patience of time itself. The ocean does not rush. It collects, it stores, it remembers. Every river's gift, every mineral fragment, every particle of dissolved salt is folded into its vast, fluid tapestry. The water that evaporates leaves the salts behind, gradually increasing their presence, shaping the very chemistry of the sea. This process has persisted for hundreds of millions of years, and it will continue long after we are gone, a reminder that some stories are eternal. Let us drift now, beneath the waves, where unseen currents dance, carrying the salts to every corner of the ocean. In the quiet depths, far from sight, the accumulation continues, slow, relentless, and poetic. The ocean is vast, timeless, and profoundly alive, a reservoir of history, holding within it the whispers of every mountain, every river, every raindrop that has ever joined its flow. It is here, in these deep basins, that the story of salt begins to take its eternal form. Beneath the ocean's rippling surface, invisible dancers swirl in a delicate, eternal choreography. Sodium and chloride, companions born of rock and rain, drift in endless circuits, tracing patterns that have existed since the earliest days of the Earth. They are cosmic travelers, forged from the remnants of ancient stars, carried through rivers and into the waiting arms of the sea. Each ion moves with a quiet purpose, a tiny note in a symphony that shapes the taste and texture of the water we call salty. The ocean is a stage, vast and unbroken, where these elements perform without audience or applause. Currents guide their motion, tides add rhythm, and temperature sets the tempo. There is no rush, no hurry. The dance has continued for millions of years and will endure for countless more. The ions glide past one another, forming fleeting partnerships, sometimes joining into simple compounds, sometimes drifting independently, yet always part of the grand design. If you could see them, you would notice that every movement is precise, a subtle balance of attraction and repulsion. Sodium and chloride never collide destructively. They circle one another like dancers in a slow waltz, maintaining a perfect distance while shaping the chemistry of the water. Their motion is invisible to the human eye, yet it determines the very nature of life that thrives above and below the waves. These are the quiet architects of the ocean's character, molding its flavor, its density, and its very essence. In the shallows, sunlight penetrates and illuminates tiny swirls of ions, glinting like stars in a miniature night sky. Currents stir them into graceful spirals, eddies that trace unseen patterns over sand, coral, and rock. The dance continues even in the deep ocean, where darkness reigns, guided by subtle thermal gradients and the gentle pull of the tides. Every particle is aware, in its own way, of the forces that govern its path, part of a choreography both precise and infinitely complex. This dance is more than chemistry. It is a memory of Earth itself. Each sodium ion recalls a journey from a distant mountain, leached from stone by rain and carried through streams and rivers. Each chloride ion whispers the story of volcanic vents, ancient seas, and the slow work of geological time. Together, they perform a ritual older than humanity, a performance that tells the story of the planet in a language we taste but rarely see. The motion is subtle yet persistent. Currents tug gently, swirling water around obstacles, creating miniature whirlpools where ions briefly cluster before continuing their journey. Temperature changes encourage some to rise, others to sink, yet all remain part of the ocean's great ensemble. In this endless ballet, every particle knows its place, contributing to the overall rhythm that defines the sea. The result is a balance that has persisted for eons, shaping the ecosystems, the tides, and the very life that calls the ocean home. Salt is more than a flavor. It is a record. Every wave you feel on your skin carries these elements, each performing the dance that has been rehearsed for millions of years. The ions are storytellers in motion, invisible scribes writing chemical verses into the water, a ledger that documents the Earth's slow and patient transformations. Life has adapted to follow this dance, sensing the salinity, relying on it, becoming entwined with the rhythm of these ancient performers. Even in the vast open ocean, far from land or river, the dance continues. Elements mix, separate, and remix as if rehearsing a pattern known only to the Earth itself. Deep-sea creatures sense the chemistry without knowing its history, moving through the salty currents in harmony with the ancient choreography. The ocean is alive with this rhythm, subtle and unseen, and yet profoundly essential to the identity of the sea. Each droplet, each milliliter of seawater, contains countless dances happening simultaneously, an intricate performance too small and too vast to fully observe. Yet the effect is undeniable. Salinity stabilizes, life thrives, and the ocean maintains its character as a vast, blue tapestry embroidered with the invisible movements of sodium, chloride, and a handful of other essential ions. The dance continues unbroken, a living, breathing symphony etched in every drop. These elements, ancient and eternal, have traveled from stars, rocks, and rivers to join the sea, carrying with them the whispers of time, the memory of mountains, and the chemistry of Earth's earliest moments. If you pause and imagine, you can almost feel the rhythm beneath the waves, the silent, endless ballet that gives the ocean its taste, its life, and its very soul. And as the currents carry them onward, we are reminded that the ocean is alive, not only in waves and tides but in the quiet, ceaseless dance of its elements. Far below the sunlit surface, the ocean transforms into a world of shadows and heat, where hydrothermal vents release whispers from the Earth's interior. Columns of mineral-rich water rise from the deep, glowing faintly against the surrounding darkness like lanterns in an endless night. Here, in these alien landscapes, salts and minerals emerge not from rivers, but from the hidden warmth of the planet itself, carrying the deep memory of Earth's molten core. The water mingles slowly with the surrounding ocean, contributing its subtle chemistry to the vast basins above. The vents pulse gently, as though breathing, releasing clouds of dissolved metals and minerals that drift outward in slow, mesmerizing currents. Tiny plumes spiral upward, rich with sodium, calcium, and potassium, merging with the surrounding seawater in a quiet, continuous dance. The minerals, forged under immense pressure and heat, enter the ocean's embrace without fanfare, adding to the ever-growing symphony of salts. Even in the deepest shadows, Earth adds its whispers to the ocean's story, a secret contribution unseen but vital. Life has found a foothold in these remote regions, thriving where light does not reach. Tube worms, giant clams, and colonies of bacteria cling to the vent chimneys, nourished by the chemical bounty rising from below. These creatures exist in perfect harmony with the mineral flow, sensing the chemistry that defines the water around them. In this strange, glowing world, salts are more than dissolved ions. They are sustenance, the rhythm of life in a realm removed from sunlight and time as humans measure it. You can imagine the slow rise of these venting waters, twisting like smoke in a still room, carrying dissolved minerals from kilometers beneath the surface. Each particle is a messenger from the Earth's interior, bringing stories of heat, pressure, and transformation. The ocean above receives these contributions patiently, blending them into its vast chemical tapestry. Over countless years, these hidden sources, though subtle, shape the overall composition of seawater, adding a dimension of depth and complexity to the familiar taste of salt. The vents form along mid-ocean ridges, where tectonic plates pull apart and molten rock surfaces briefly touch the frigid water. As the Earth exhales its hidden warmth, minerals are dissolved and transported into the ocean, invisible to most observers yet crucial to the balance of salts. In this quiet, persistent process, the deep sea communicates with the surface, sending ions upward, weaving a link between the fiery core and the calm blue above. It is a reminder that the ocean's salinity is not simply a gift from rivers but a living record of Earth itself. Hydrothermal activity contributes more than minerals. It introduces energy, heat, and subtle chemical gradients that ripple through the ocean's basins. Sodium and chloride ions mingle with magnesium, calcium, and trace metals, forming the intricate chemical composition we recognize as seawater. These interactions are slow, nearly imperceptible, yet they accumulate over millions of years, adding richness and balance to the ocean's character. The dance that began with rain and rivers now extends into the unseen depths, connecting the surface and the mantle in a continuous loop. The vent plumes rise and spread, mixing gently with the surrounding currents. There is a rhythm to this movement, a pulse of Earth itself, faint but persistent. The ocean absorbs these contributions silently, blending them with salts carried from the land and sky. In this way, the hidden sources beneath the waves become an integral part of the sea's flavor and chemistry, a subtle reminder that some of the most profound processes occur far from sight, beyond human perception. Even in the deepest trenches, where pressure crushes and darkness reigns, the influence of hydrothermal vents can be felt. Salts diffuse, currents swirl, and the ocean integrates these contributions slowly, gradually, like a patient artist layering pigments on a vast canvas. The hidden sources are never obvious, yet they shape the ocean as much as rivers, rain, or the sun above. The chemistry of seawater is a collaboration between surface and depth, light and dark, visible and invisible, a symphony composed over eons. And so, layer upon layer, the ocean grows more complex, more alive. Each ion, each mineral, each hidden contribution strengthens the intricate web of chemistry that defines life beneath and upon the waves. The ocean is not static. It breathes with the slow, invisible rhythms of Earth itself, and every drop you taste carries the secrets of vents glowing in the abyss. As you imagine these hidden vents, glowing softly in the deep, think of the ocean not as a simple body of water but as a living archive, collecting minerals from rivers, rain, and Earth's molten heart alike. Its layers of salt are records of invisible dances, chemical symphonies, and deep whispers, creating the rich, enduring character of the sea that stretches endlessly before us. Sunlight pours across the ocean, warming its surface with a gentle, golden touch. Tiny waves shimmer and glimmer, reflecting the light like countless scattered gems. As warmth penetrates the water, some of it rises into the sky in invisible threads, leaving behind the salt that gives the ocean its taste. Evaporation is quiet, almost imperceptible, yet it is one of the ocean's most important rhythms, a slow heartbeat connecting sea, sky, and land. Clouds begin to gather above, formed from water lifted in silent ascent. Each vapor molecule once danced through rivers and streams, once brushed over mountains and forests, now drifting above the sea as part of a new journey. The sun writes invisible letters in the sky, carrying water but leaving the salt behind, preserving the mineral stories of distant rivers, deep-sea vents, and ancient mountains. Every evaporating droplet is a messenger, tracing a path between the ocean and the clouds that will one day return it to the land. Gentle breezes stir the surface, encouraging more water to rise. The process is cyclical, hypnotic, almost musical, as if the ocean and sky are performing a quiet duet. Water ascends, leaving the heavier salts behind, gradually increasing the concentration in the remaining sea. This slow enrichment is imperceptible day by day, yet over millions of years, it shapes the ocean's identity, ensuring that each wave carries the memory of countless rivers, vents, and storms. Raindrops will eventually fall again, returning some of this lifted water to the mountains, valleys, and rivers below. In that way, the cycle completes itself, endlessly repeating, a rhythm older than humanity. Streams begin anew, carrying dissolved minerals toward the ocean once more. Salt is never lost. It only moves, collects, and integrates, a constant companion to water as it travels through Earth's landscapes and atmospheres. The ocean's surface ripples with these invisible processes, and even a calm, motionless sea is alive with activity. Heat rises, ions shift subtly, and clouds slowly gather their moisture to journey across the sky. There is poetry in this movement, a pattern that mirrors the rhythms of breathing and thought. Each particle of salt left behind is a remnant of rivers, rain, and the unseen vents in the deep, a trace of every place the water has visited before its escape into the sky. You can imagine following a single molecule as it rises from the ocean's surface, becoming vapor, mingling with billions of others, lifted by warm air currents toward distant lands. Some will fall as gentle rain on deserts, forests, or glaciers. Others will drift over mountains and descend as snow. Every precipitation returns fresh water to Earth's surface, yet the salt remains in the sea, building slowly, patiently, the signature taste that has defined the oceans for millennia. Evaporation also connects ocean and climate, subtly influencing winds, currents, and temperature. The water cycle is both simple and profound. Water moves, salt stays, and the balance persists. It is a natural meditation, a quiet lesson in patience, rhythm, and interconnection. The ocean, clouds, and rain are partners in a story that repeats endlessly, a cycle that has no beginning and no end, only continuity and purpose. Even storms, violent and powerful, obey this pattern. Rain falls, rivers swell, and minerals travel once more toward the ocean. The sun continues its work, lifting water, leaving salt behind, and reminding us that the ocean is always in motion, always evolving, yet never losing its essence. It is a slow, ceaseless choreography, invisible yet profoundly present, shaping every wave, every current, every living creature that depends on it. Meditate on the journey of salt in this cycle. Every taste of seawater is a reminder of rivers flowing, rain falling, water rising to the sky, and minerals lingering patiently behind. The ocean accumulates history with each passing day, each drop, each evaporation, growing richer and more complex. It is a story that humans can glimpse but never fully grasp, a quiet meditation on time, patience, and the enduring rhythms of nature. And with each storm, each rainfall, the ocean gathers anew, strengthened by cycles of water and salt, sun and cloud, wind and tide. Its chemical story grows more intricate, its identity more profound, and its presence more eternal. The cycle continues silently, invisibly, but its effects are everywhere. In the taste of salt, the sway of waves, and the quiet heartbeat of the sea that connects rivers, mountains, skies, and life itself. Sunlight filters through the ocean's surface, scattering across swaying kelp and coral gardens, illuminating a world shaped by the gentle rhythm of salt. Every creature, from the tiniest plankton to the graceful fish gliding past, bears a silent connection to the ions dissolved in the water around them. Salinity is not merely a chemical trait. It is a defining essence, a medium in which life has learned to flourish, adapt, and dance. Each organism interacts with the ocean's salt in a subtle, intimate dialogue, balancing, sensing, and responding to the invisible currents that shape its world. Plankton drift lazily, suspended in the gently moving water, drawing nutrients while carrying out the slow alchemy of life. Their cells absorb the salts that maintain their internal balance, a delicate act perfected over millions of years. Tiny though they are, these organisms form the foundation of ocean ecosystems, and their survival depends entirely on the precise chemistry of seawater. Without salt, without the ions carried from mountain, river, and vent, these primary producers could not thrive, and the entire rhythm of the sea would falter. Corals form vibrant structures, their calcified skeletons intertwined with soft polyps, growing in patterns shaped by both light and the salinity of the surrounding water. Fish weave through these gardens, glinting with silver and gold, their scales reflecting sunbeams that penetrate the surface. Each heartbeat, each movement, is influenced by the salt that surrounds them, the invisible force that stabilizes, nourishes, and connects. The ocean is alive not only in waves and currents but in every pulse of life sustained by its chemical harmony. Even the deep ocean is full of creatures shaped by salinity. Strange fish with luminescent patterns, jellyfish drifting with the currents, and invertebrates clinging to hydrothermal vent chimneys all share a reliance on the consistent concentration of salts in their habitat. They are reminders that life adapts to its environment, thriving within constraints set by the invisible chemistry of the world around them. Salt is both a boundary and a lifeline, shaping ecosystems in subtle yet profound ways. You can imagine the tiny ions threading through the bodies of every organism, invisible yet indispensable. Sodium and chloride move through cellular membranes, maintaining balance, transmitting signals, sustaining life at the most fundamental level. Magnesium, calcium, and potassium contribute their own quiet roles, building structures, regulating rhythms, and orchestrating biological functions that are simultaneously delicate and resilient. Each element is a note in the symphony of life, harmonizing to sustain ecosystems across the globe. Even in estuaries, where rivers meet the sea, life demonstrates the adaptability of organisms to changing salinity. Some fish migrate upstream to spawn, sensing subtle changes in ionic concentration. Shellfish filter water, extracting nutrients while managing salt intake. These environments reveal the intimate dialogue between water and life, illustrating how the ocean's chemical composition guides survival, reproduction, and behavior. Salinity is not static. It is a living rhythm, shaping every heartbeat in this watery world. The ocean's salt also carries stories of time and place within each creature. Every fish, every coral polyp, every planktonic cell embodies the journey of minerals from mountain, river, and vent. When you taste the sea, you are tasting the memory of rain, erosion, evaporation, and deep earth chemistry, all converging in a delicate balance that supports life. Every living being in the ocean interacts with this history, embodying it in motion, growth, and survival. Waves above reflect the light, casting ever-shifting patterns onto the sea floor, illuminating the delicate dance of life below. Shadows move with the current, and tiny bubbles drift upward, carrying nutrients and oxygen. In this meditative rhythm, life and salt are inseparable, bound together in a quiet interdependence that has persisted for millions of years. Salinity is the silent pulse of life in the ocean, sustaining diversity, abundance, and harmony. Every organism, no matter how small, tastes the history of rivers, mountains, and stars. Each one responds to the concentration of salts in subtle ways, through movement, metabolism, and growth. The ocean is alive in every heartbeat, every fin stroke, every swaying tendril of kelp. Its rhythm is gentle, persistent, and profound, an invisible force that connects all forms of life within its embrace. The ocean is alive not only in waves but in every salty heartbeat. From surface waves that shimmer in sunlight to shadowy depths, where hydrothermal vents release their hidden minerals, Life thrives in communion with salinity. The dance of elements and the cycle of water converge to create ecosystems rich with movement, color, and sound. Every organism is a note, every salt ion a vibration, contributing to a symphony that is both ancient and eternal. Long before humans walked the earth, oceans stretched across the planet, their waters carrying salts gathered from ancient rivers, rainfall, and hidden vents. Seas of prehistory were not exactly like those we know today. Their chemistry shifted slowly over millions of years, responding to climate, tectonics, and the slow dance of continents. Fossilized sediments, crystalline salt deposits, and the shells of long-extinct creatures tell us that the oceans have always been dynamic, holding a memory of change within every drop. Some ancient seas were fresher, closer to rivers, their salinity lower than today's oceans. Others were saltier, trapped in basins where evaporation exceeded inflow, concentrating minerals over centuries. Islands rose and fell, volcanic eruptions poured minerals into the water, and ice ages locked up water in glaciers, subtly altering the balance of salts. The ocean's chemistry is a ledger of Earth's history, written not in ink but in ions and dissolved minerals, recording every shift, every transformation. If you could swim through these ancient waters, you would feel a subtle difference in buoyancy, taste the faint variation of salts, and sense the silent fingerprints of eons. Microbes and plankton drifted through these seas, adapting to concentrations of minerals different from today. Coral reefs, if they existed in some regions, would have responded to these changes, building structures that reflected the ocean's chemistry at the time. Life and water were intertwined in a slow, patient dialogue, each influencing the other over millennia. Salt itself tells the story of continental drift and mountain formation. As rivers carved their way across rising ranges, minerals flowed into the seas, sometimes in great pulses following floods or volcanic eruptions. Hydrothermal vents continued their hidden work, adding subtle contributions from deep below. Even the melting of glaciers carried new water and sediments, slightly diluting or shifting salinity. The ocean was never static. It remembered the movements of the earth and reflected them in its chemical makeup. Geologists have found evidence of salt layers buried deep in ancient seabeds, crystallized during times when evaporation exceeded inflow. These evaporite deposits tell a story of changing climates, shifting basins, and the ocean's patient accumulation of minerals. Each layer is a page in Earth's history, a frozen record of chemical balance at a moment long ago. The ocean has endured countless cycles of rise and fall, freeze and melt, growth and retreat, carrying the memory of every era in its depths. Even small changes in salinity had profound effects on ecosystems. Organisms that lived millions of years ago evolved to survive slightly saltier or fresher waters, influencing evolution in subtle ways. The concentration of ions dictated where coral reefs could form, how plankton thrived, and where fish swam. The ocean's chemistry was a guiding hand, shaping life's trajectory long before humans pondered its mysteries. The ocean remembers every event, large and small, in its chemical composition. Every river that poured into it, every vent that released minerals from the deep, every drop evaporated into the sky, contributed to the ongoing story of salinity. The changes were gradual, almost imperceptible, yet over geological time, they created a dynamic tapestry that continues to evolve today. Salts are timekeepers, recording the subtle shifts in the Earth's history, storing memory in each crystalline particle. If you imagine the ocean as a living entity, you can feel its continuity through time. It is a vessel that has carried the story of Earth for billions of years, responding to every climate shift, every tectonic upheaval, and every glacial advance. Ancient seas laid the foundation for the chemistry that sustains life today. The balance of salts in modern oceans is a reflection of the interplay between land, sky, and deep earth across immense spans of time. And as time flows, so does the story of salt, unbroken, eternal. The ocean carries the memory of eons in every drop, connecting mountains to vents, glaciers to rivers, and ancient life to the present. The concentration of minerals today is a product of every storm, every flood, and every hidden pulse of the earth. It reminds us that the ocean is not merely a body of water, but a chronicle of history, patience, and relentless natural processes. Even as you drift through this meditation, you can feel the slow hand of time shaping every wave, every current, every particle of salt. The ocean is alive with history, a reservoir of memory and transformation. Its depths hold evidence of the past, while its surface touches the present. Salinity is the quiet storyteller of the sea, carrying whispers from millions of years ago, preserved in the waters we see and taste today. Long before modern science, humans approached the sea with reverence, curiosity, and a quiet sense of wonder. They harvested salt from tidal pools, evaporated seawater in shallow pans, and carried this precious mineral inland, unaware of the eons of rivers, rains, and vents that had shaped it. Salt became a symbol of life itself, seasoning food, preserving harvests, and even guiding rituals and trade. Every crystal was a tiny repository of Earth's history, connecting humans to mountains, rivers, and oceans far beyond their reach. Coastal villages grew around these tidal sources, and generations learned to read the rhythms of the sea. Fishermen observed tides and currents, sensing the subtle influence of salt on the water and the creatures within it. Even the simplest meals contain traces of this vast, ancient story, minerals dissolved over millions of years, now shaping taste, health, and culture. Humans became intimately entwined with the ocean, tasting its chemistry and unknowingly participating in its slow, persistent cycles. Salt has long been treasured, a currency, a gift, and a connection to distant lands. Ancient trade routes carried it across deserts, mountains, and plains, linking societies in ways that were both practical and symbolic. The ocean, vast and untamed, supplied these crystalline treasures patiently, indifferent yet generous. Every grain harvested tells a story of evaporation, rainfall, rivers, and vents, a story older than human memory, yet experienced daily on tongues and in hearths. Even now, when we study seawater in laboratories, the ocean continues to whisper its secrets. Chemists and oceanographers trace ions back to rivers, rocks, and deep vents, revealing the intricate tapestry of salinity. These explorations illuminate the interconnectedness of Earth's systems, reminding us that what seems simple, a pinch of salt, represents a complex journey across time, space, and matter. The more we learn, the more profound the connection becomes between humans and the salty seas. Coastal landscapes reveal our long-standing relationship with salt. Salt flats glimmer in the sun like mirrors, while tidal marshes absorb and release the sea's brine with every tide. Even culinary traditions tell the story. Recipes seasoned with salt carry the invisible imprint of rivers, rain, and ocean currents. Each meal becomes a meditation on Earth's chemistry, a quiet acknowledgement that life and salt are inseparable, that humans are part of the ocean's ongoing narrative. Consider the small, intimate pleasures. Tasting seawater on a swim, feeling it brush against lips and skin, or observing salt crystals form on a shoreline after evaporation. These experiences connect us to the same processes that have shaped the sea for millions of years. We witness, in miniature, the work of rivers, the energy of the sun, and the slow accumulation of minerals. The ocean's generosity is subtle, pervasive, and profound, influencing culture, biology, and memory alike. Even the stories we tell are influenced by salt. Sailors' tales, coastal myths, and songs about the sea carry echoes of the ocean's character. Saltwater becomes a symbol of endurance, mystery, and the passage of time. Humanity has long sensed, even without scientific instruments, that the ocean is both nourishing and formidable, its saline presence shaping life and imagination in ways seen and unseen. As science advances, we continue to uncover hidden connections. Salt affects ocean currents, influences climate, and determines habitats for countless species. Humans, in turn, affect the oceans through activity and industry, reminding us that this relationship is reciprocal. The sea and its salt are part of a dialogue that spans millennia, encompassing both natural and human forces, a delicate balance that persists through careful observation and respect. And yet, No matter how we touch it, measure it, or taste it, the ocean remains vast, untamed, and profoundly salty. Every grain we harvest, every sip of seawater, every breath of salty air links us to the slow alchemy of rivers, rains, mountains, and vents. Humans are participants, not masters, in this ongoing story, connected to the ocean through both sustenance and wonder. Salinity is a reminder of the vast timescales and delicate processes that shape our world, and it invites contemplation, awe, and gratitude. The ocean, with its salts, currents, and hidden depths, continues to nurture life, memory, and culture. Every time we walk along a shoreline, taste the sea, or study its composition, we are acknowledging a connection that stretches back millions of years. The water may rise, the tides may shift, but the bond between humanity and the salty sea endures. It is a rhythm older than cities, older than civilizations, a quiet pulse that reminds us that we are part of something vast, beautiful, and eternal. The ocean stretches endlessly before you, a vast mirror reflecting the sky, moon, and stars. Every wave carries within it a story, a memory of rivers, rains, mountains, and vents, all converging to create the salty water that laps at shores and whispers along coastlines. Its surface shimmers with ancient knowledge, yet its depths hold secrets older than humanity, secrets preserved in minerals, salts, and currents that have traveled across eons. Every teaspoon of seawater is a whisper of Earth's eternal story. Sodium and chloride ions mingle in quiet harmony, products of mountains weathered, rivers flowed, and vents vented deep beneath the crust. Evaporation lifts water skyward while salts remain, building subtly over millennia. Hydrothermal vents release their hidden contributions, and life in every layer of the ocean interacts with these elements in silent communion. The sea is a living archive, where time, chemistry, and life converge. You can imagine drifting above coral reefs, where sunlight dances across multicolored gardens of life, each organism adapted to the ocean's salinity. Plankton float in gentle swirls, fish navigate currents, and tiny ions flow through every cell, sustaining life in a quiet, invisible rhythm. Even the deepest trenches, shadowed and cold, hum with chemistry, where hidden sources continue to enrich the water with elements from the Earth's interior. The ocean is alive not only in movement but in its intricate chemical heartbeat. Time flows differently here. Millions of years of accumulation and transformation are contained in every wave. The seas remember ancient climates, the rise and fall of continents, the glacial ages and warm interludes. Salts are the archives of these memories, dissolved yet enduring, shaping the environment and the life that depends on it. They are the ocean's voice, a whisper that persists across generations, telling of endurance, transformation, and the subtle majesty of natural processes. Even humans are part of this ongoing narrative. Our taste of salt, our harvesting of its crystals, and our scientific observations connect us to the ocean's story. Every recipe, every culinary tradition, every coastal ritual carries echoes of rivers, rainfall, and ancient waters. The oceans influence our culture, our imagination, and our sense of wonder. And yet, despite our touch, the sea remains vast, untamed, and infinitely complex, its chemical story written in invisible letters across every drop. Waves break and reform, currents swirl, and tides rise and fall, all following rhythms shaped by salt, gravity, and celestial pull. The dance of ions, the journey of water through evaporation and precipitation, the hidden contributions of deep vents, all merge to create the ocean we see today. Each element has a role, every process a purpose, yet nothing is rushed. This patience is reflected in the calm, meditative pulse of the sea, inviting stillness, reflection, and awe. The ocean's story is endless because it is cumulative. Rivers deliver minerals, sunlight lifts water skyward, and evaporation leaves the salts behind. Life adapts, evolves, and thrives within these parameters, creating ecosystems rich with movement, color, and subtle interaction. Deep-sea vents and hidden sources continue to whisper contributions from below, joining the ongoing cycle of chemistry, energy, and life. The story is both visible and invisible, tangible in taste and chemical signature, yet elusive in its full scope. Imagine floating above the water at night. Moonlight glimmers on the surface, stars reflect in dark ripples, and the quiet lapping of waves becomes a lullaby. Every droplet, every ion, every current participates in a symphony older than human memory. The ocean's salinity is a rhythm, a heartbeat, a gentle hum that connects rivers to vents, mountains to tides, life to chemistry. It is a story without end, inviting you to rest, to breathe, to imagine. Even as you drift toward sleep, the ocean continues its work. Water cycles, salts accumulate, currents circulate, and life thrives, all in a quiet meditation of time and motion. The story of salt is not a static tale. It is ongoing, evolving, eternal. It is a reminder that Earth's processes are patient, resilient, and interconnected, a rhythm in which humans, rivers, mountains, and stars all participate. And as your mind settles into the calm of night, you can rest in the thought that the ocean's story is endless. Every wave, every drop of water, every grain of salt carries a memory, a connection, a fragment of time that stretches back to the earliest days of the planet. It is a story of patience, of chemistry, of life unfolding in harmony with the world around it. And in this quiet moment, you are part of it too, drifting, breathing, and listening to the endless, salty song of the sea. The night stretches above the ocean like a velvet canopy, studded with stars that shimmer faintly, mirroring the tiny ions dancing beneath the waves. The sea exhales slowly, its waves brushing the shore in a rhythm as old as the planet itself. Every ripple, every shimmer of moonlight on water, carries the memory of rivers, rain, hidden vents, and ancient seas. You have drifted through the story with the tides, and now, as your own breath slows and deepens, the ocean's timeless presence lulls you gently toward rest. You have glimpsed the journey of salt from mountain to stream, from river to ocean, from deep vents to the surface kissed by the sun. You have floated through currents where life blooms in delicate balance, and imagined the cycles of evaporation, rainfall, and renewal that shape the very essence of the sea. The story of the ocean's salinity is also a story of patience, of interconnectedness, and of quiet, persistent wonder. It reminds us that time flows in gentle, imperceptible waves, and that every small action contributes to the rhythm of life on Earth. As you settle into this calm, you may notice the quiet heartbeat of the sea echoing within your own. The ocean's salts, currents, and hidden depths are a meditation in themselves, a reminder of the enduring beauty and complexity that exists beyond our immediate perception. Each wave, each drop of water, is a note in an endless symphony, and now, in this moment, you are part of it. The rhythm of the sea flows through your imagination, inviting you to rest, to dream, to feel the wonder of the world without hurry or expectation. If this quiet journey of discovery has brought a moment of peace, consider letting the rhythm linger a little longer. You might share this journey with someone else, or leave a note from wherever you are drifting into sleep tonight. Your presence, your awareness, your curiosity, all are threads in the vast tapestry of experience, connecting the human heart to the ancient, salty song of the ocean. And if you feel called to continue exploring these gentle stories of wonder, subscribing to The Thoughtful Night will ensure more journeys like this reach you, carrying soft waves of knowledge, curiosity, and calm. Close your eyes now and imagine moonlight gliding across the surface of a calm sea, each wave reflecting the stars above. The ocean breathes, and so do you. The salt, the currents, the unseen depths, they are all part of the same enduring meditation, a lullaby written in water, minerals, and time itself. Let yourself sink into this rhythm. Feel the connection between rivers, mountains, vents, and the ocean, flowing through the world and through you. Sleep gently, carried by the endless story of the sea. Let its quiet salinity be a reminder that the Earth's processes are patient, infinite, and harmonious. The oceans endure, the salts persist, and life continues in subtle, beautiful synchrony. Drift with this knowledge, with the sound of waves, the whisper of wind, and the soft glow of the moon. Let the story of salt, water, and life fade gently into your dreams, carrying with it a sense of wonder, calm, and timeless connection. And so, the ocean waits, vast, salty, and eternal, as do the stories it holds. Thank you for joining this quiet journey. Subscribe, share, and leave a note from wherever you are, letting the ocean know that its whispers have been heard, its rhythm felt, and its endless story appreciated. Tonight, you rest with the sea, part of a meditation older than memory, carried softly into sleep by the gentle, saline song of our world.